Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grove. It's happening. Well, it hasn't really happened yet for us, although it is happening in the city. Rain all day, and we still have chances. Look, I went ahead and put some of this creeping Jenny moneywort over here. So you know these are newly put in, and I watered them in, but I'm thinking God is going to also water them in. And it's just cool. Look at the sky. All that beautiful overcast, and it's cool. And so I think they'll have a great chance. I did transplant some of this in pots, and it promptly died because we had already gone into the heat of summer, even though it wasn't summer yet. And today is April the 26th, and we're finally getting our spring rains. I just really figured God wouldn't leave us out totally. So it's our turn, and I'm so glad that we're getting this rain. I know my little plants are glad of it too. It's just wonderful. You know, sometimes I just love a rainy day. And a little bit later, when it's not so rainy, I'm going to show you all the things I've been doing because my hostas did come in. You can tell that some of these are up and going and looking great. And then some of them had died out, as I told you, but I have new little hostas now. Those little tiny things you see coming up, those are more hostas. So I have hostas in all the pots on the back part of this, not of course in the front. I'm going to put some color with some, well, I was thinking impatiens, that's what I usually have here, but because we lost our maple tree, we don't have as much shade now, so I may put some more petunias there. I'm not sure yet. Actually today I may go look at some nurseries if the weather permits. But you know, I was out here yesterday. It was misting a little off and on, and I was out here all day. It's wonderful to work on a cool rainy day because you can take things out of one place and transplant them into another place, and it just doesn't mind that at all when it's cool enough for it to take all of that. So I love it. So I thought today, while it was rainy and I couldn't work in the garden, I might just shop for the garden. So yes, I did get some more annuals to plant in the garden. I'm excited about that. I also have these petunias coming up in all of these little pots, so that's great. And I found some double impatiens. I love these. They look like little roses. So I'm excited to get some more pots put together, or container gardens put together with this stuff. Maybe even starting tomorrow. More examples of how the garden imitates life. There's the bridal spirea already gone. All the pretty white blooms. Few scraggly ones still left, but they're going away. Just like those little days that I had with my great-granddaughters are gone. They'll be back again, I think. But that one day is gone now. It's just a memory. But this one too will be back next spring, as will the lilac bush. And I had my husband cut this one down. He cuts it down every year for me. Well, now that he's home, when he drove the truck all the time, I would cut this back, but he does actually a much better job. So and somehow it's a whole lot easier from my side. But Anyway, I love to have it cut back, even though it's beautiful if you leave them big, but I like to see behind it, so I like to have it cut back, and then it grows quite a bit. By the time it's ready to bloom again, it'll be a big beautiful bush, and in the meantime I can see back behind it to the back part of the garden. And I see my little Hawaiian coral. Some of its bloom is falling off and going away, and what's left is much paler than it was before, but it's still beautiful, and it's still just a little promise of next spring. If a rodent doesn't come along and uproot it, it should be here for many years to come. And I'm anxious now to get my pots filled up. I will be doing some of that this week. I haven't really got it all lined out in my head how I'm going to do it yet, and I may not, because sometimes I just get out here and get started and see how much of what I can get done through the day or the week. So I'm hoping though to get a lot done again, and I just feel so much better after it gets cleaned out. I just have hope again for myself and the garden. And there's a lot of little pots like this that I need to redo. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can look inside there. And no, yes, I am too. Do you see this little tiny green right here? Actually, that could even grow back from the root, but we'll see, because I'll want to put more in it anyway and give it a much better start. We celebrated my mother's birthday yesterday, had a wonderful time. 2 of our kids were there, and we were missing the one, but hopefully she'll get to be there next year, and hopefully there'll be a next birthday and many more. So we're looking forward to that. I just now got out here and sprayed, because when the blooms begin, I've been having trouble with those bloom bugs and cucumber bugs, or beetles, whatever, those little green with a black polka dots. They look like a green ladybug, but they're not ladies. I've told you they're definitely not ladies. But because you know, a lady would never eat your little bud up. She might clip it and put it inside where she could enjoy it while she's washing dishes or preparing meals. But anyway, I did spray for those. They come when the roses come. You can see these are fixing to open up, and also when the peonies come, they usually come. So I want to get them out of here if I possibly can. I sprayed them before they opened. This time I was able to get around to do that. I'm not always able to, so hopefully that will make a difference. Oh, look at this blue beside this yellow green of the Caryopteris. And then these, of course, are the columbine, the pretty blue columbine. I love that color combination. I might actually see if I can get some of this columbine started in this little pot right here. I think that would be pretty there. Of course, it only blooms in the spring, but it is a perennial, and it will be back next year too. Since the last time I talked with you on YouTube, there has been so much happened, so much going on in the garden. Look at these lilies. They are so tall now. They were just up a little bit last time. And roses are starting to bloom. They're budding out everywhere, all over the garden. So that's a wonderful time when the peonies and roses are in bloom. That's just one of the prettiest times in the garden, I think, other than fall. And fall is when it's all got its maturity that it's going to be able to get for the year. Look at that beauty right over there. You can't maybe see it all, but you can tell it's big and beautiful. And it's the same one that was on this little one right here that I've been showing you since the first one. You can see how many of these have already gone away, and there's still one left here. So I've been certainly enjoying this, and I love the clematis. They're so welcome in the spring. Now in the summer there'll be a little bit of a different story, because they do turn crisp and black whenever they get too hot. They just don't like it, and they're kind of like I am getting, where not getting, I am totally. I just can't really handle that heat. It's just really tough on me, but I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to try to get things where I can kind of, well, I'll be out here every day watering, but maybe hopefully it won't be quite as hard, and I'll hopefully get my hoses lined out where they will be soaker hoses for me and not get plugged up by our sand or our gyp in the water. But what I was actually going to show you is the dianthus. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And it smells pretty. These tiny little dianthus blooms put out such a beautiful, wonderful scent. And I know they don't stay in bloom long. After they finish bloom, they'll just be a little wispy, grassy looking foliage there. But what a joy it is to see them like this, and just to sit out here for a little bit, maybe have a morning cup of coffee and just breathe in that wonderful scent. And the crepe myrtles are opened up now. Their leaves are unfurled, and I love their spring color. They'll be green soon, but right now look at this beautiful color. And actually I'll try to get this in the morning sun for you too, because I think it's even prettier, but right now it's pretty. And I love that color. I love it in the fall because it is what I would think of as a fall color, but it's also wonderful to have some of it through the spring season. This little bud right here will be blooming soon, maybe even in the morning. I'll try to come back out in the morning and show you some of the difference a night will make. This is the bud I showed you recently, or maybe I just put it on, I may have just put it on my photo on the computer, but either way I'll put a little picture of the bud on it because I thought it was awesome. I knew this plant was going to have to be when it bloomed. It's so pretty today. It actually bloomed the day after, and it seems to be a little bit fuller open today, and in the morning we'll look at it again. And irises are opening up all over, looking great. And this pretty little, I think it's called Kinsley's Ghost honeysuckle, is just bright and beautiful and beginning to put on its little round bracts with a little, this will be yellow. Right now it's green, but it'll have a little yellow center in it, and they don't last very long as far as the flower part or the little bracts, but it will be green and beautiful all year. It's, I want to say, one of my favorites, but I think I say that about every plant in the garden. Oh, look what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing that one of my little Siberian iris is blooming. And I had a wonderful weekend actually, and it's so wonderful when you feel like some of the people you love just accept you for who you are and how you are. And I was out here the other day telling the Lord, and I tell him this often, I love what you do. I love who you are. I love how you do, because he does things that we wouldn't even begin to realize that we needed. He shows us things that we wouldn't even think of on our own, and it's just wonderful to feel his presence and know his love, and know that even when we get down, he's there and he understands every one of our struggles and all the differences that we feel, and he's able to take all of that in consideration and find a place for us in his world. Also, on this post, the dragonfly that my great-grandson Max gave me for Christmas is making its debut in the garden. Oh, look, my do-tell peony is blooming today also. I'm always saying it takes my perennials to the 4th year to do anything, but this is its 2nd year and it's looking great. So happy about that. And this lovely little pink pom-pom is still going, not really strong now. It's about to quit, and you can tell that because, well, for one reason, because the color is fading. Also, I'm seeing that we have little tiny cherries on the tree. The President Clematis is opening up its beautiful bloom. And I think all of these that are coming up here are probably black-eyed Susan vine. I do not want all of this here. I'm going to take it all up but one or maybe two. And it looks like I better do it before very long, because they're going to get too big to deal with easily. I need to trim some of this rose away from that little decorative item there. And I need to fill up these little pots. And also, I transplanted so many things, so much, while we had our rains. And actually, I was out here when it was even misting, but when we had our harder rains, I got to do a little shopping for the garden, so it was all great. But these, after the first time I planted some here, they just went just directly away. It was too hot for them to transplant. But this time, with the cooler weather, I put these out here, and they have just kind of snuggled in and not missed a beat and kept right on going. So hopefully they will keep on going and going until they get like this and just fill that little area out for me. Look, this little fuchsia is blooming. It loved that cooler weather and that rain. I wish they would do great for us all summer, but these will not. They love the cooler weather unless I bring it in time and can save it inside, because I'm terrible with house plants. But I might try. So pretty. I hate to lose them. And I've probably already shown you, but in case I haven't, look. Just look how the hostas have grown. And I did go ahead and put hens and chicks in this little pot. I was planning on putting some plant with lots of pretty color in it, but I don't know, I'm having a hard time getting my hens and chicks to come back. This one tried to come back, so I put it here, but it's got a long ways to go to be pretty. So, but I put them here and trying to see if that will maybe work for them. And I'm trying to bring my little rooting plants that I had in the window. I'm trying to see if I can get those toughened up a little bit, but they don't look like they're getting tough. But so we don't always look like we're getting tough when we go through something either. But you know, sometimes we don't even know ourselves when they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which is a great saying, but it's just that when we're going through that, we really don't know which outcome we're going to end up with. So we're always hoping to be made stronger, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But we're wanting to hold on to Christ, hold on to God, hold on to the hope for better and wonderful things to happen, and for the outcome to be strength. You know, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So His power, His love can carry us through so much. Thank Him so much. But I wanted to show you some of the things I found. Look, this is the, I may have already showed you this, but this is the beautiful little double impatient that looks like roses. And then this is a fan flower. Another one of the beautiful mini petunias or calabrachoas. This is called loosestrife, and I don't know, it may be an invasive little plant. I've heard that in the past, so we'll see. But I plan on putting it in a pot where it won't have too much room to be too invasive maybe, but I love that beautiful mixture of dark and light green. For some reason that just really catches my eye. And then I got several other little plants. I always love to have a few of the spikes in a pot because they just give it such flair, you know. I always love to have some of this beautiful mint licorice, and I also found out that I do love the blue licorice just as well. I love them both. And so I just purchased a few more things, and I'll be putting a few more pots together. This is another pretty coleus that I got. Don't I wish these looked like it did? But you know, there's still a chance that someday they will. They just need to toughen up, strengthen up, and just begin to shine. And hopefully they will. There's still hope for them. These beautiful little strawberry drop trailing coleus. I just love them so much. I'm hoping I can really get them going. Once they get going, they just keep going and going and just looking beautiful. They're small but mighty. Which reminds me of the Rudy Gard. Oh, I can't pronounce his last name. I'll put it up there for you so you can know. But we watched his story and I loved it. Of course I did. You know, I love an underdog. I love a second chance. Our pastor is going through some second chance sermons, and I love it all because we have a God who can make something from nothing, and he's made all this beauty, and anything that we do with it, I think he's proud of. But it's not like we made these. We're just displaying them for him. Pretty little lily of the valley. They have a wonderful scent too. They're such a tiny flower. They have a wonderful strong fragrance. And this is where I put my redhead coleus and the pretty little splashed petunia. And then today my friend Oma gave me this. This is campanella. It's the little short kind. Let me see if I can tell what this one is called. Get Me Purple Campanella. It's a perennial, and I had this in my garden once, and it stayed for several years, about 3 I think, and either a rodent got it or I had not divided it. I think this little plant likes to be divided, so which is great because then you could have more of them. So I hope to be able to keep this one divided, keep it in the garden for a wonderfully long time. Isn't it beautiful? Thank you, Oma. I did find out that some of my plants were not anchored in the ground well enough. I put some gravel here, but not nearly enough. I'm going to have to redo this little pot. You can see how it's leaning over way too far, and then I have one in the back that is in the same situation. I also noticed that some of my little newly planted plants are looking a bit wilty, and I think that might possibly be because the weather got kind of cool for them. I hope that it is the reason that they come right out of that. This is another one that I notice is just looking terrible. It's so wilty. If it doesn't come out of it soon, and I really kind of don't think it will, usually when they start looking like this, they sometimes can come out of it, but usually they just need to be trimmed off because they'll just try to heal something that they're not able to heal and put all their energies into doing something that's not, it's just not going to work. So, you know, that's the way. Another example of life. Sometimes we do that, but we have to do the best we can. And if this doesn't shape up soon, I will trim it back as low as possible, and still, if there is any health left on it, see if it will grow back from closer to the root. But for the most part, our rain was wonderful and welcome, and I think even the cooler weather for the most part was healthy for the garden and gave me a chance to do some things that I thought I had missed my chance for this spring on. So I got my plants planted while it was cool enough that they didn't go into transplant shock, or before it was so hot that it just wilted them down. So that part is wonderful. This morning I got my lifelong friend since the 6th grade some little starts of my peonies. This is the pink pom-pom one. I'm not real sure what the name of that is. And this is the white one that is, it's a single, but it has a big fluff of yellow, bright yellow in the center. And this little one that's wilting down over here, it's not doing so great, but it has a great little, and I can't remember if they call this a bulb or a rhizome, but it's it does have the root portion of it is a good size. So even if the tops die back, next season it should show up in the garden. It usually takes them a while to get established and start blooming, but I think she's going to love them. And she's giving me some hens and chicks, which I pray that I don't kill, which I've done that before, but we'll see what I can do with them. I want to do more than I could possibly get done today, but I'm going to get busy and see how much of it I can do. The weather is so nice today, but we've already had warnings that summer's heat will be coming on, It's going to start out though with 70s and 80s, so that's great because we've had it to go directly into 90s, so hopefully that won't happen. And also we're supposed to have some winds today. It's not terribly windy. I've actually put little starts out when it was a perfect day for doing it, and yet the next day the winds came up so strong that it just whipped them to death. But hopefully that won't happen, but we'll see what we can do. But before I get too deep in the dirty part of gardening, I wanted to show you these in the morning light. This peony over here, which I'm going to go around to the front of it too. So there you go. Isn't it gorgeous? And that's one of the Atoth peonies. And earlier in the week, this one was shining up so much better in the morning sun, but it probably was looking brighter when I showed it to you yesterday than it is this morning. But it's still a gorgeous early color on the crepe myrtles. They'll turn green also. And right above it there, you can see that pink that the Wildulas are beginning to open up. This is the red one, which has not opened up yet, but you can tell its buds are full, and it won't be very long before it will open. I'm going over a little closer to this pink one so you can see a little better what it looks like. Such pretty pink blooms. Every time I show this to you, I always wish that I had the pots that are around it filled up so it could just really make a pretty showing all the way from the bottom of where the soil is to the top where the sky is. But of course I rarely do. I don't know if I ever have. But I want to get some of these. I don't know if this one will be included in the sum, but I hope to get some of these pots done as far as filled up today. And I did divide this little hosta. I kind of hated to divide it. It looked so good last year. And I don't know why my little bleeding heart is not doing much, but maybe it's just not quite time for it to do much. Hopefully it still will, but when I divided this little hosta, I put a piece here, and I had told you that I planted a new one here and put another piece on the other side of it. So I'm hoping this will fill up this little blank area and look gorgeous. I got some more little cuttings ready. These look so much healthier than the ones I had before, but I just put these in last night. So we'll have to wait and see what will happen. I think all of our cooler days and nights maybe are over for the season. Not sure, never can be sure, but I think that maybe they are, but also we have winds and even a chance of hail in our near future, so we will see. I'll try to keep these inside for a little while until they're starting to get at least a little bit strong as far as taking them in and out. They're out today. It's a lovely day, and I'm sure they're just loving it. Isn't it wonderful when you feel like life is just perfect and you want to think it's going to be like that forever? Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.